And so here we go with the transformation for Voyager-class Decepticon Mixmaster. I'm sorry, he's not a Decepticon, he's a Constructicon in my mind. Okay, give me a break. Let's see. This is kind of a minor thing. Usually it's diagonal, just put it off to the side. This gets flipped downward. This flips inward like that. This does not get pushed down, actually, so you just leave it like that. Please remember, when you're putting them back together, you got to treat the drum like an egg, because it will slip apart in kind of strange ways. When you're putting the drum back together, always be mindful of the fact that there is a little tab right there on the upper half, not the lower half, but the upper half here. That's going to fit into the hole right there. The other thing you need to note is that the drum actually goes over this outermost ring. See, it kind of overlaps there a little bit. Remember that. It doesn't brush up against it or completely cover it. It's just this first ring here. As you also saw from the transformation process, the shoulders. These are the shoulder joints right here. So keep that in mind. The instructions say you're supposed to flip the cannon up and over. I just leave it where it is. And you don't do anything with this. It can move, but you're not going to do anything with that. So I like to attack the arms first just to get them out of the way. I'll reposition this a little more. The arms themselves are a bit of a challenge. They go through it's kind of weird, the wheel wells here actually go through a bit of a swap. You have to, what you do, and this is kind of confusing for me, you have to slip this down like this, pull this backwards, rotate it 180 degrees, and then slide it back and upwards. It's a little tricky to change this guy. Just going to reposition these shoulder joints here. But the thing is, I'm just going to open up the fingers now. They just fold down. What I do, ordinarily, the shoulders, you notice the drum section's a little thinner over here, it's a little broad over here. What I like to do, you're supposed to leave the hands open like this, and for attack mode, yeah, that's okay. But what I like to do for posing is actually turn that 180 degrees. The other thing I want to note, this figure does have a Mech Alive feature on it, but this is not Mech Alive. You'll notice there's a dark gray section in there, and it's actually attached to the lever that the shield is attached. I'm going to start calling them shields now. And you'll notice when you pull back on it, it kind of shifts around a little bit. It's not Mech Alive. I don't consider it Mech Alive, but it is certainly an interesting feature. Now I'll try to do this from the opposite side. You can see here the dark gray lever right there. Oops. Let's see. And then you can see the shield there, flip it around 180 like that. Now, nothing in here is going to lock into place, unfortunately, and that's actually one of my gripes with the figure, is that you can't, nothing really locks into position. There's a lot of shifting around. It shifts around nicely, but it doesn't quite do it the way I would like it to. The cab section is slightly easier to work with. Lift up the roof sections until they're just going to unsnap. That's really all they're going to do. Push them back, but they're not going to lock. There comes my favorite part. This is my favorite part in the whole transformation right there. The whole cab section just pulls forward. To reveal, come on, unsnap. Okay, there you go. This bar actually snaps under there, so. Does that not look like the semi-truck from hell? Look at the big old fangs on that thing. multiple eyes on there, just Arr. That's the semi-truck from hell right there. And it's got those big old arms and back. Okay, enough of that. I had to do that. I saw that the other day, and I was like, yeah, I gotta make that comparison. And these are the legs. Of course they're the legs. Why else would you be pulling them down like that? As I pointed out earlier, keeping the cannon in position is actually a good way to keep things stabilized. It actually gives you something to hang on to, because if you fold the cannon back early, then all these panels back here become loose and they twist around all over the place. So it's nice to have something sturdy to hang on to. It's a little, it gets to be a little chaotic. So, and it's also kind of a good frame of reference for when you're playing around with the torso up here, which I'm going to do now. Let's see, I'll just keep pushing things back. So what's going to happen here is the whole torso, there's a lot of panels here. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the torso. So what I'm doing is flipping the torso around on this fourth panel here, and you're just flipping it 180, and it will snap into position. So then you will start to orient this way. Just keep the cab out of the way. Just send it back here. It's a little cumbersome during the transformation process, but trust me, it's just easier to work with the arms. Oh, yeah, okay, you're going to want to take care of this. There's a split in the plastic of the torso. There's actually a front piece and a back piece realigning this bar here. Just sight it, flip that around 180. This is on a ball and socket joint, so it's easy to just flip it around. Just line like that. Flip that around 180. Put that like that. These, I don't know, you can orient these however you like. You can leave them out. You can leave them outwards a little bit. You can push them in. I push them in. It's just a little easier to work with right now during the transformation. The feet, actually kind of an odd thing to work with here. His legs are actually oriented backwards right now. And there's actually an extra lever sitting here, so just keep pulling outwards until you'll feel it snap into place. And then, not at the thigh here, but still at the hip, twist this around 180 degrees, and then fold downwards. This is real loose. The knee thing is real loose, but what are you going to do, you know? Kind of accordion-like nature of the panels and everything is a little confusing. Let's see, is this oriented? Okay, no. There's a little joint here. You're just going to twist 180 and keep this back here for now. Don't really have to worry about that. The legs are... It's a little... Actually, the feet. The feet are actually a little difficult to work with. Now you can see I've still got the cannon in place, and I'm just holding the cab in place with this. Blah, 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 blah. What you're going to do is you're going to flip the roof to the side. Now it does twist, but you can't twist it until you pull his toes down. You see how they find like that. Now don't pull them all the way down, or else you'll wedge the joint in place. You don't want to do that yet. It's a little confusing at first, but once you've done it a few times, it becomes a little easier to understand how and why things are the way they are. This is eventually what it looks like. Now, of course, on the paperwork it points it like that, but I mean, it'll just droop down to that, but whatever. Let's tilt this out. It actually does help to loosen the heel section a little bit before you twist this around. Okay. Now we're getting a little closer towards the end here. He's going to do whatever he likes there. Okay, here we go for the last steps. At this point, it's good to remove the cannon. Make sure, though, see a little gray tab right there? That's the trigger, which is covered up until this point. So you can't get to the trigger because it's in there. I suppose you could, stick your finger in there and it would fire off. But anyways, now is the time to pull it out. Now you're gonna have to hang on to everything in here now, okay? And just flip that up. See this hole right here fits into that tab right there. Like I said, at this point it's a fire hazard, so you can tilt this thing back if you want to, but it's not going to lock in place. You can try if you want to. That actually, the little thing that actually gets used later on in what is it? In attack mode. Okay, here we go. Here's where the accordion thing starts to happen. So we're going to fold that up and fold that down and fold that up. So you see it's this big old thing, W thing, is just going to collapse all together. And you look at it from the alternate view. The whole thing's just going to collapse together like that. There's a few things. They hold together more by friction than they do by actually snapping together. So it'll hold. It's solid enough. Okay, last step. Like I said, the can's just going to sit there. Okay, last step. There's this little light gray tab that sits in here. You got to wedge it out. It would be nice if they'd actually put a tab on there for fingernails, but you just got to dig it out, flip it around 180 degrees. Now, there's a joint here, and there's a joint here. You're going to collapse that accordion fashion as well. Now, here's the trick. Here's the trick. This is a little difficult to understand. What you're going to do is you're going to wedge this tab into this hole here. Now, what you're not going to do is turn it. You're not going to turn it 180 and stick it in like this. What you have to do is wedge it inwards at an angle. And you're going to stick the edges of the cab to either side here. So it's not going to come in contact with anything. And make sure the bar, this lever thing here, make sure it's collapsing the whole time. And you're just going to, let's see, wedge that in there. Just like that. And there you have, well, let's see, yeah, there you have Voyager-class. Oh, wait, one last thing. His head is, and this is also another function of attack mode, his head is actually on a series of levers that lift his head like way up here. Or it collapses way down like this. So what you want to do is just pull it outwards a little. Just a little bit. It's not supposed to lift real high, but you're not supposed to keep it tucked in real low either. And you'll be able to see, how that orients. And these, and there you have, ladies and gentlemen, Voyager-class Mixmaster in robot mode. The difficult thing about the transformation is that other than the accordion sections, the hips, and some of the stuff in back, a lot of this actually doesn't snap or lock into place. You depend on a lot of swivel joints and things that are held in place by friction only. That can be a difficult thing to work with. Things don't really lock in place. The arms are very, very fluid in how they're positioned. So this is actually a figure, it's kind of odd. It has a complicated transformation. This is how I like to think of it. It's a Voyager-sized toy with a leader-class transformation process. In other words, it's really complex to transform. But then it moves and poses like a deluxe-sized figure. Deluxe-sized figure has a lot of swivel joints and a lot of ball and socket joints, and it doesn't really need ratcheting joints. Well, this figure poses pretty much the same way as a deluxe class. It has no ball and socket joints whatsoever, with the exception of the shields, the 4 shields. Those are the only parts, well, for transformation, the smokestacks do have ball and socket, but but the shields have ball and socket joints, and then there's a crap load of hinges on that lever that moves the back wheel well section. And so, compared to most other Voyager class figures, this one's actually quite complex to transform. For the older collector, it's a much more satisfying transformation because it is so complex. And really, I mean, does that look at all like a cement mixer to you? Not to me, it doesn't. And I would say he's very screen accurate as far as, you know, where things go. Not that we saw very much of Mixmaster to begin with in the movie, but where things finally end up on the wheel wells actually do end up on the back of his arms. The smokestacks are there. Fuel tanks sit up there. Well, actually, there's an extra pair of fuel tanks sitting on the back of the cannon. But so as far as screen accuracy goes, it's pretty good. It looks complex for a Bayformers toy. It's complex enough to be satisfying. But for little kids, they might get frustrated that things are not staying quite where they are. So that's something to look out for. Here's how you get Voyager-class Mixmaster from robot mode into attack mode. How do we do this? Okay. Undo the cabin back. Lift that out. Pull that down a little. Just down like that. Let's see. Unlike going from vehicle mode to robot mode, you actually have to undo a couple of things. I'm just going to undo it so you can see what's going on. You're going to undo this gray section here. You're going to undo that, but you're going to keep the tan-colored section attached to it. What you're going to do, you're going to loosen up the cannon. I told you to use this funnel earlier. You're going to fold it all the way down until it snaps in place. And then you're going to accordion the joints down here so that it eventually looks like that. And you see how this bar is tilted at an angle slightly, okay? That's how that works. Now, of course, as I told you earlier, a lot of the joints do not ratchet, so this is going to be loose the whole time, okay? The whole time. You take the shoulders, pivot them 180 degrees. Transformation joint. And you're going to take this joint here and tilt this shoulder forward 180. I'm sorry, that's 90 degrees. Same thing over here. Tilt it 180. And again, this joint here, tilt it forward 180. Now here it is, I was describing earlier, he kind of does a backflip. This is kind of what it looks like in the end. But we're not done yet. What you have to do is get the knees, or you have to get the ankles behind the cab. And you're going to twist it up to about 90 degrees. And again, doesn't ratchet in place, doesn't lock in place. Again, this is 90 degrees to about there. The instructions are wrong on this next part, okay? They're totally wrong because they illustrated it incorrectly. Oh, yeah, alright. What they tell you to do is twist it around and then bend it in some weird angle. You can't do that. What you have to do, put away the gray tab, fold that down. Actually, no, you want to leave it out. I goofed. My bad. You want to leave it out. Okay, yeah, learn from my mistake. Leave it out. You're going to accordion this down again. Okay, but this time, let's see, how can I keep showing you? It's going to go all the way down, okay, like that. Now what's going to happen is you have to be aware where the cab doors end up, so you're going to want to twist this forward. And what's going to happen, the end result is more or less the cab section is going to create kind of a back leg for the tripod. What's going to happen is he's going to sit like this, okay? At this point, right here in the instructions, how do I say this? You can put the knee guards away if you want to. At this point, I kind of deviate from the, well, no, actually there's one more step now that I think about it. The head, remember that the head is on those additional levers. Pull it all the way out and bring his head up so you can actually see where he's looking. Okay, looks kind of cool that way. I don't know why I do that, but okay. At this point, I deviate from the instructions. The instructions say you're supposed to bring the wheel wells down and let them sit on the ground so that the wheels are actually on the ground. That's not possible. So what you're going to do, you're going to open up the hands. Now remember what I said during the transformation to robot mode. I twisted those around 180. You got to bring them back around. And you're going to twist the hands up. You will have to fight it. You twist the hands up like this. Now the problem with attack mode is that the arms require a lot of tweaking, and I mean a lot of tweaking. The shields go in a certain position, the arms twist in a certain position, and basically it's a god-awful mess. So I'm just going to do what's easiest for me and the positioning that I found. It's not screen accurate, a lot of them is not screen accurate, whatever. But this is the positioning that I'm going to do. Here, look at the way the arms, look at the way the arm here is shaped, okay? And you can see I've twisted this 90 degrees downwards. This is the position that I put it into, okay? I've tried many times to make certain to get it, screen accurate. And, really these don't flip down. These arms are blah, 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 things like that. This is as close as I can get to attack mode. Actually, that stays upwards, but yeah, okay. Now, there's an interesting little thing I noticed. Maybe I should work on the other arm while I'm talking about this. There's actually an interesting little feature I noticed. See this little peg right here? Trust me, there is a peg right there. Well, that peg is never used in the instructions anywhere. However, you see this hole down here? I think at some point, I don't know behind the scenes of designing toys, okay? I'm completely out of that loop. I think at some point the intention was going to be to bring this down, because it's supposed to be a tank, more or less, what you're supposed to be doing here. I don't like what they came up with, but okay. I think what was supposed to happen was it was going to be a genuine tank where you plugged these pegs into these holes here, and he was actually going to be able to roll around like an actual tank. That didn't happen, obviously. So I'm just going to... Like I said, I'm just kind of playing around here right now. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Oh, whatever. Twist the arms upward, or twist the hands upward, and like I said, it's a convoluted POS. When you're done, you're going to get something akin to this. It's not perfect, and I'm not going to try and make it perfect, even for the video review where I try to make things perfect. But this is Voyager-class Mixmaster's, let's see. Yeah, whatever. This is Voyager-class Mixmaster's attack mode. And like I said, at the halfway point, opening up the hands and positioning the arms, not the shields, but the arms, that is according to the instructions. But beyond that, it's kind of guess and check. You're supposed to get these wheels down flat on the ground, and then tails moving the dark gray levers in there. But that's the way I set it up. These are supposed to fold up here. This is supposed to go down here. Blah, 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 things like that. That's about as close as I can get to attack mode. And I photographed him on the text and picture review. That actually is a better version of this, but this is kind of an impromptu version, so there's a little bit of variation in it. So yeah, I'm not impressed. Like, I got Mixmaster because I thought him just bouncing over was kind of cool. I didn't think they'd actually try and recreate. I thought, the cannon would just kind of flip over his head and that would be it. But No, that's not what they did. They actually tried to turn it into an alternate mode, which did not turn out all that great. And that's it for the transformation review for Voyager-class Decepticon Mixmaster. This is AV Unit 4A for CollectionDX.com, signing off.